everyone, and good morning. Welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. So before we get started, I'm going to have Jeff tag a couple of people who wanted to be tagged in this video. What you missing?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm going to wait until you're done.
Happy Thursday. Almost all the way through the week. Almost halfway through the month of May. That is crazy. I don't know about you guys, but most things are opening up like they probably should have anyway. And we'll be back to running almost at full speed. I know there's going to be a lot of, destruction of the economy. I'm hearing about places every morning that are closing their doors and shutting down and laying people off. So it's going to be kind of some interesting times, unfortunately. But we do have a better way. We do know how to get out, meaning if you're in the industry, direct sales, network marketing, this is the time to make a move if there ever was one. There's never going to be a better time. A down economy, the MLM industry builds faster in than any other time. People think, oh, I'm waiting for it to be good. No, when it's good, people think there's a million different options. Not think, there is a million different options. But when things go crazy, this is the best time to build. So,
And in other words, when people are comfortable, they don't want change. So, anywho, we are on the elevator principle today, which is we can lift people up or take people down in our relationship. So people can be the wind beneath our wings or the anchor on our boat. So, would others say I lift them up or take them down? That's a question that you want to ask yourself. And what kind of person are you? So there are 4 kinds of people when it comes to relationships. Number 1 is someone who is going to add something to life and we enjoy having them around. Many people in this world desire to help others, and these people are adders and make our lives and others more pleasant and more enjoyable. So this is a quote by Frank Tager? I think Tager. But friendship consists of a willing ear and understanding heart and helping hand. So when John was giving advice to his nephew, he was going into the mortgage business, and he was driving him to his job the first day, and he's like, I have some advice for you. The first thing is you want to go in early, stay late, and do more than what's expected to you. That phrase right there was one of the ones that my stepdad told me. So there's really 3 things here that he's going to tell him, but I heard this when I went to my first job. And what this did is my stepdad gave me the expectation of what is going to be expected of you. And he's like, if you do these things, you will be successful. And then the second one is do something every day to help the people around you, and then add value to the team by adding value to the coworkers. And then number 3, offer to go the extra mile for the boss. So make an appointment with the boss and just let them know, like, hey, anything extra that needs to be done, just so you know you can rely on me to get it done. It doesn't matter if I need to stay late, and it doesn't matter if I need to come in on the weekends. I'm going to come in just so you know I'm willing to do it. And a good example of this, my brother recently did this. He's 20 years old. He started working for a heating and air company. And he's like, Brandy, I just got another raise. And I'm like, that is so good for you. He's like, I haven't even been with the company for a year yet. And he's like, this is another raise, but I've had a total of $9 raise so far. And I'm like, well, that's really good. And I'm like, well, they must really like you. I'm like, so what are you doing differently than what everybody else is doing? He's like, well, I'm showing up early, and I'm staying, and I make sure the job gets done, and I just do a really good job. And my brother also, he doesn't go into everything because I did talk to him more about it, and I could see what he does. He's a very good worker, and he applies all 3 of these areas when he's at his job, and employers can see that. Also, are you guys doing this with your team? Are you asking, hey, what do you guys need help with? When you give a helping hand, people are super appreciative, especially at events. Can I come and help out with chairs? Do you guys need help at the sign up a sign-up table? What are some things that you could go and add value to your team and help out with? Excuse me. Whew. Sorry about that. Anyhow, number 2, some people subtract something from life and we just tolerate them. So subtractors do not bear our burdens and they make them heavier than the ones that we already have. So they usually don't intentionally do this. They don't even realize that they're doing it. But if you don't know how to add to others, you probably are subtracting by default. So receiving is easy, but giving is much more difficult, because you have to, a lot of times you have to be very conscious of it, because human beings are selfish creatures and it's always me, what can you do for me, not what can I do for others. That's something you actually have to think about. So number 3, some people multiply, oops, hold on, nope, that's not the one I'm on. Number 4, some people divide something in life and we avoid them. So dividers are damaging because unlike subtractors, their negative actions are usually intentional. They're very hurtful to other people and try to take another person down just to raise themselves up. Like, they won't build other people in the team because they're scared that they're going to take their position or that they're going to be better than them. This is also a sign of insecurity too. An insecure leader will not build up other leaders because they're scared that they're losing something by letting somebody else gain. So taking others to a higher level. So if we want to lift people up and add value to the lives of others, you want to keep these things in mind. So lifters commit themselves to daily encouragement. Who are you encouraging on your team? Who's working? We try to do this. Anybody who's working, we like to send out little messages. Hey, this person sent me so many lead applications today, and we just want to congratulate them for working so hard. We actually had somebody on our team who did this. All throughout quarantine, she sent me, oh goodness, because she sent me more since then, but I believe she sent me about 40 lead applications during this whole thing, which is a lot of work. And we wanted to congratulate her on our team. We have a team page that we set up, and I got a picture of her, and then I wrote a little paragraph just to congratulate her. I'm like, hey, you're doing such a good job. I just want everybody to see how hard you're working and really congratulate you for all the hard work that you're doing. And she was killing it, and she was so excited and so happy that we did this for her. And we were so happy that she was doing so well, especially with everything that's going on. But like Jeff said at the beginning of the video, there's a lot of people who are uncomfortable and now willing to look. So that also was helping as well. So lifters know the little difference that separates hurting and helping. So you hold the power to make another person's life better or worse, or worse by the things you do each day. So what are things that you are doing to go out of your way to make somebody else's day better? It could be just a simple, hey, good morning, or smiling at somebody when they walk by and just asking how people are doing. Reach out to somebody today and say, hey, just wanted to say hello and how are you? You never know what people might be struggling with each day, and a simple smile or a little bit of encouragement or a kind word can go a long way for people. Excuse me. Lifters initiate the positive and initiate the positive in a negative environment. So it's very easy to stay positive in a positive or neutral environment, but it is really hard to stay positive in a negative environment. A lot of times you can't help that situation, but if you can, try to avoid the negative environment. Usually the negative environment, it could be some of the people that you chose to stick around with, or sometimes it's family members. I usually try to avoid the negative environment. When I went through my whole change of who I wanted to become, I actually had to distance myself from a lot of the negativity and just to get away from a majority of those people. But the best thing that you could do is, even in a negative environment, stay positive, and you may brighten up the room as well. There's some people that have this talent that are really good at this, and you know these people. You go to a party, it's really not moving a whole lot. Everybody's kind of like, eh. And then that one person comes in the room and it's like, hey, everybody. And then the whole room changes. Now, you don't have to be that extravagant, but you want to be that person who, as soon as you walk in the room, people love to have you around. And that's one of the things that you want to strive for is, do people enjoy having you? Lifters understand life is not a dress rehearsal. So people who lift others don't wait till tomorrow to do tomorrow or some other better day to help people. They act now. So don't wait. That's always like, oh, well, we're very good at pushing things off to the last minute. Don't push things off. Look at what you can do to help everybody and make it a conscious decision that you're going to go out and do something better for your team and for the people that you're working with. Now, you still have to do a lot of your work, but make sure you're taking care of people, and it does come back to you. So with that, that's what I have for the chapter today. Jeff, would you like to
get over here to living with people?
Yep.
I'm lost today, a little bit out. The hammer and the elevator, lifting people up. So, Gabby's here. Hello, hello. I see a couple people jumped on. I know Shamala, Dave Roeder, Alexandria. Hello, hello. Don, Bill, how are you? Shamala, I think I got everybody here. Yep. Appreciate everybody for jumping on. So the elevator principle, this is what I got out of it. We can lift people up or we can take people down. So basically, words of encouragement, how we speak to people. People can be the wind beneath our wings or the anchor to the boat. The question I must ask myself, would others say that I lift them up or take them down? So this is important, especially if you have a team. You know, which are you? Are you helping people along or are you hurting people? You must compliment at least 3 people every day. So that was kind of John's way of, you know, doing the right thing and encouraging people. Hey, you look good. You know, you always dress correct. You always bring the right attitude, you know, whatever you can compliment. And I've also heard there's nothing better than a sincere compliment, and there's nothing worse than BS flattery. So know the difference. You're not just doing it just to do it. You're doing it for real. The world is starving for appreciation and it's hungry for compliments. So that's the number one thing, is just being able to compliment people on what they do good, build them up. What kind of person are you? 4 kinds of people. Some people add something to life, and we enjoy them. They go early, they stay late, they do more than is expected. Do something every day to help other people around them. They offer the extra. They become an adder rather than a subtractor. Most people subtract by default if they have not been taught to add. If you're not taught to add value to people, you're going to subtract from people. You're going to point out the negative. This is also personality driven. Task-oriented people a lot of times will point out what you're not doing right because they see everything based in a pattern. They see everything based in a system. And if you do it even out of order, they will point it out to you. They're not pointing it out necessarily to make you feel bad. They're pointing it out to make sure it's done correctly. Is that necessarily the right thing to do? No. You know, and there's ways to actually give people, because the way that this reads, it's kind of like, well, am I never supposed to tell people the right way to do stuff? No, but there's ways to do it. And what I've learned is something called the sandwich technique, where basically you say, here's what you're doing good. And by the way, you always ask for permission. You know, can I give you something that you may not like to hear but would help you? And if they say yes, and only if they say yes, you say, look, here's what you're doing great. This. Always have more good than negative. And then I say, but this could be done in a different order. Have you ever thought about doing it here or here? So the second thing is anytime you're going to give any kind of instruction at all to anyone, anytime you're going to try to improve something that somebody's doing, one thing that I learned is you want to make sure that they're the one that's coming up with the idea. If they come up with the idea, it's going to be so much better off. So a way to ask it is, where do you think it would be best, here or here? And then feel, felt, found. Well, I feel based on, these reasons, that this is the right time or right place or right way that it can get done. And I found that it works out better. But, you're already good at this, this, and this. So the sandwich technique is the good, the instruction, and then the good again, which is reinforcement. So it's complement, instruction. But you can only do this after you ask for permission. And that's where most people mess up, is they're not asking for permission. They get comfortable with people and they just blah, 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 blah. So 4, some people divide. Division is where real negativity comes out. That's somebody who's hurting. That's somebody with low self-esteem. They're not only going to point out everything you're doing wrong, but they're going to tell you why you're terrible at it as well. Taking others to a higher level. Lifters commit themselves to daily encouragement. Lifters know the difference that separates hurting from helping. The little things you do every day. Lifters initiate. Bess is here. Catherine's here. Hello, hello. And Alexandra, what did you write? Yes, a compliment first, and then tell them what they can do to work better. Lifters initiate positive in a negative environment. Lifters understand life is not a dress rehearsal. Never wait for tomorrow. Say it now, do it now, live it now. Tomorrow is only found on the calendars of fools. I can't remember who wrote that, but it was really good. Elevator principle. These are discussion questions, kind of to ask yourself. Do people who you do not intentionally add value to automatically become subtractors? And the answer usually is yes. So why is that? Basic human nature, we're negative by design. And what I mean by negative by design, we're attracted to things that don't go well, things that don't fit, fear, right? Death, and anything that involves anything bad, we're automatically attracted to. Our basic human instinct, our human nature is attracted to that. That's why, that's one of the reasons I don't really watch TV. I don't have the news on. The news knows how to do this. The news actually has the stories written. There are people who spend, I remember reading about a guy, or maybe I watched a program on a guy, he makes $100,000 a year changing words in programming. Think about it, it's called programming. In programming, that will attract more people and create more fear, which drives a higher emotional state when the article's written or the news story's told. He makes over $100,000 doing that. 2, why do people become dividers? People become dividers, we talked about this earlier, is because they have a low self-esteem and they were never taught any other way to do it. So a lot of people just grow up in negative environments, and it's kind of like they see everybody else around them succeeding, but instead of thinking, hey, there's probably a different way to do it, there's things like luck. Oh, well, that person's lucky. That person gets everything. That person was genetically gifted to do that, or, they have a different biology, different makeup. And this kind of garbage is thrown at us, again, from the media, sometimes from movies and television shows and, friends and family. This is the reason why we're not successful. We weren't born on those side of the tracks, or we weren't born, in the right family with the silver spoon or whatever. I've heard all kinds of different weird things. Do small things and good. Do small things good and bad, no matter what. So it's kind of like do things well regardless of what's going on. If you can focus on doing things well regardless of what's going on, life just becomes a lot easier. And sometimes it'll take more effort to do it that way, but in the long run, you win. What's the main difference between adders and multipliers? People who just add go around complimenting people, but people who multiply actually are teaching that what to do. So on a team, how do we compliment and teach others to compliment? One of the key things is edify and teach people to edify. Edify is basically speaking good of someone, talking good about somebody, complimenting them. And I'll give you, for instance, the guys we work with, Mr. and Mrs. Kelly.
Be right back.
Yep. Mr. and Mrs. Kelly, great people. They help us consistently with everything we do. They're not only business builders, but they're also they hold a corporate position as well in the company we work with, and they're able to help us out both like on a team, but also as an organization and as kind of like a community leader inside the company, you know, for a certain area and range. So they're helping people that aren't even on their direct team. That just happens to be the way that it works inside of our company. So, you know, speaking highly of somebody helps out a lot. So that's basically what we got for today. Tomorrow is all about the connection. So we went over the elevator principle today. The hammer principle was yesterday. So these are really good. There's, you know, I think there's 25 total, or maybe there's 26 in this book that he goes over. But this book is basically written as kind of a blueprint. This was his interpretation, meaning John C. Maxwell's interpretation of the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is an amazing book, but it's harder to understand, I think, than this. John breaks it down into multiple principles where you learn basic human psychology in Dale Carnegie's, and he talks about, you know, the principles of, you know, knowing people's names, smiling, eye contact. You know, he talks about complimenting as well. I think John's principles are just easier to remember because he's using kind of commonality that we all have. Elevator principle, everybody knows what that is. So with that, I appreciate everybody for being on. Have a great day, and we will talk to everybody tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday.